gozdov, prvič v Sloveniji, pa je pa nekaj hiš tega podjetja tudi že v Slovenijo prišlo. Ampak več o tem bom pa sam povedal.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the invitation. It's a big pleasure for me to speak now about the practical use and wood building, woodworking and timberworking. We've heard the whole morning how important it is to come down with our carbon emission, to come down with the energy need and all these things. Let me speak something and show you something about my world of practical working. Nearly 20 years ago, I started research work to find a big vision with wood. We have been a group of young engineers and we have been convinced that what we saw at the beginning of our professional career, what happened in the building and housing industry in our home country, that is not the best you could do. We have been completely convinced that we could do everything better in wood. And at the beginning of this work, we believed in two things. The first thing was the 1980, 1990, the house industry started to, from America came the 2x4 technology, and they started to build the houses always lighter and lighter and cheaper. Because in Austria and Germany in this time, the market leader has been brick and concrete. All houses have been built with bricks and concrete. And the wood industry tried to win this competition on the way to be cheaper. So they built very light buildings with not much wood. They tried to save so much wood as possible and built houses with wooden frames and insulation materials and chipboards, and so they could get into the price competition. And in this time we thought that we could find a quite higher quality when we do the opposite. We dreamed from a house that is only a solid wooden shield. The reason was very simple. Think about this bird in the forest. You know this woodpecker who makes the holes in the tree to live there. You know this bird? Have you ever been in winter on very cold days, maybe high in the Alps or in the northern country like Scandinavia or Siberia, in a forest when they cut down the trees? When you cut down a big tree in winter, in a climate where you have minus 20 or minus 30 degrees, then you can see a little miracle. When you have a tree, and this tree is standing 1 or 2 months in a temperature of minus 30 degrees, then you should think that it is frozen through the whole tree. But cut it down and you can see the opposite. The freezing point is going into the tree just some centimeters, maybe 5, 6, 7 centimeters. I have been in Siberia, in the northern of Russia, in February, in a region where we have 3 months minus 30, minus 40 degrees. And when they cut it down the trees, it's really a miracle. You can see the freezing area is just 7 centimeters going into this tree. And when this bird, the woodpecker, makes his hole in the middle of the tree and lives there, it's the only warm place in this cold hell. And I'm an engineer. When I calculate the thermodynamic situation in this tree, you get another result. It's not possible on the calculation that in this tree it's still warm. You have a temperature higher than 0 degree. And this idea was our idea from the beginning. We thought and we believed that it's possible to build better houses, a better technology, higher security, a better living environment, and a better answer to the ecological situation in this world when we build only with wood. This was the first thing we believed on the beginning of this research. And the second point of our view, the second very important point is that we have seen woodwork is not woodwork. There is a big difference between the modern wood products. When you make a solid wood product, you have, from the ecological view, a dream situation. The energy comes from sun. We have heard it today a lot. The carbon is stored. It's a dream from the ecological situation. But if you need this artificial glues and this chemical helps that is used in the modern wood industries, then you lose a lot of disadvantages. When you begin to glue this wood, you need a lot of energy. For example, when you make a wood line on a surface on this room, and you make it with solid wood or with a wood fiber board, and you compare the primary energy need, then you need for the wood fiber board 10 times more energy to produce it. Because the wood fiber board is glued, and this glue is very energy intensive, and you lose a lot of the advantage that you have with the solid wood. The second thing we thought about was that this chemical glues are a toxic help, and it's a problem in housing for sensitive people with an allergy or such things. And so we said we want to find a modern way, a modern construction system that we can do only with wood, 100% wood. That was the vision. And that was the beginning from a journey, from a very interesting journey. I want to show you some results. When you want to make constructions, big houses, not only one or two floors, when you say, we thought at the beginning we want to build 10 floors, only with wood, only with solid wood, then it's clear you cannot build it with beams, just with grown beams, because you have the shrinking and all these things we know from the log constructions. You need a cross-laminated system. That's the first thing we know. And the second thing, from the wood industry, you get boards. You must need these boards. So we said, okay, we want to prefabricate. We want to make prefabricated elements from a cross-laminated system. But the question was, how can we make from these singular boards static components which are not moving and which bring us the technical things we need? And the secret are these bags or wooden towels. We tried not to use the artificial glue, we wanted to use these towels. We pressed this towel into the element and so we can become a modern building system. It's like Lego or like Matador. You know these wooden games where you can put together the singular parts to a house. And so we do the same. We produce in the factory the solid elements. They come from singular boards and they connect with these wooden towers, and then you can build from these elements the different houses and different architecture how you need it. The first technical challenge that we had to go through was the situation of fire security. When you go to the country and speak today about ecological targets and about our future, all people agree it's good to build with sustainable materials, it's good to build with wood. But the first challenge that comes is the answer, okay, wood is good from the view of ecological, but wood is dangerous because this material is burning. And it's right, wood is a burning material. But the solution is also, you can also find the solution in the detail. Wood burns only if it is thin and surrounded by air. Wood burns never when it's a thick, solid block. When we begin to construct our houses and when we begin this research work, the state of the art in the wood housing industry in Europe was F30. That means that the construction could stand the fire 30 minutes. And F30 had in this time, 1990, only the expensive and good constructions. This was really the state of the art, the highest level. When we begin to construct the walls of the houses and the ceilings and the roofs with blocks 20 or 30 centimeter thick solid wood, it was a big surprise, our first fire experiments. I want to show you some pictures from the laboratory. First, we looked at concrete. You see here a concrete element in this labor, where you get the certification, the European certification for fire security. There you have to bring a big element as big as a completely room, 3 meter high and 2 meter, 3 to 2 meter. And this is burned on the whole surface with 1000 degrees, and it is pressed as you have a house, 2 floors on it. And in this situation, you look how long can it stand this, can it protect against the fire. When you burn to concrete, you can see that after 5 or 10 minutes, you hear it, how the, please excuse my bad English, after 5 or 10 minutes you can hear how the outside chills are breaking away, because the high temperature and the temperature difference in the elements breaks the outside layers away. Then the steel comes out, and the steel becomes hot, and maybe 10, 20 or 30 minutes, and the element is destroyed. Because when steel becomes a higher temperature than 400 to 600 degrees, it cannot stand, the static working is finished and it's destroyed. For living, for working, is a shield from solid wood, nothing else. In all technical questions, you can test, you can make an experiment, you get the best values only with wood and nothing else. Let's go on. We made test. The next thing was the high frequency waves from the mobile phone. You know this in Germany and in Austria. It's a big issue. If it's good for health or not so good, I don't know. I'm not a medicine man. But for us, from the point of view of wood technology, it was interesting to look what does the wooden construction against these waves. And together with the military university in Munich, we tested all building systems that you can buy on the market. And we compared it. The big surprise again, the best value in protecting against these high frequency waves is solid wood, nothing else. When you have a construction that is thicker than 20 centimeters, you get the best values in protection against high frequency waves.
Can you then telephone with mobile phone from your house?
In a normal house, you can use the mobile phone, because normally you have away about 90% of the frequency waves that comes on the outside, and inside you have 10%, and this 10% comes mainly through the window frames and doors. And this rest is enough to have to use it on the normal way. But we have also special buildings. Today we have a building project for the Norwegian army, and they have army buildings where they have high security areas, and they build it with solid wood, so you cannot hear what happens inside. They use it. They know the technology today, and they use it. In last year, we have built a residence for the Norwegian king, also with this material. In winter 2001 and 2002, it was a cold winter in Austria in the Alps. We had, so in January, we had minus 20, minus 25 degrees all the January. We made a simple test. We compared 3 brick houses, 3 prefabricated 2x4 houses, light built houses, timber frame houses, and 3 Holzhundert houses. In these 9 houses, and everyone lived the family, we took in this, we looked to the moisture in the air. We wanted to know how dry becomes it in this cold month. And in the brick and in the light built houses, the moisture was on an average through the months always between 20 and 30%. Air with 25% is very dry. It's really a dry air. And in the solid wood, in a house where you need 100 cubic meter for the shield, we had always a moisture more than 50%. So we can see that also for the moisture in the air, the solid wood construction is a storage, and it buffers away the extreme situations. That is very important for a healthy and comfortable living environment in the house. So you can see more and more this bird in the forest, the woodpecker who makes his hole into the solid wood. The animal is not silly, it's a very intelligent animal. When I have built the first bigger buildings, hotels with Holzhundert, we came to the next important issue, and that was really a challenge for us. This was the noise insulation. You know, the biggest challenge in building industry is the noise insulation. That's really hard to get a high level of noise insulation. And we had a research work 3 years on this issue, and then we learned when you build every part of the house in a solid way, not light, we need the mass. And it's very important how you connect the components together. Then you can have the same standard, the highest standard of noise insulation that you can reach also with concrete or traditional materials. You see this hotel, it's a hotel in Austria, in the Tyrol. We built it 4 years ago, and it's a completely wooden building, a hotel with 200 beds, and in the whole house we have a noise insulation that you can play trumpet or the drums in one room, and in the room beside you don't hear anything. That was the challenge. The challenge from the architect was that we had to build the double noise insulation that is normal in hotel buildings in Middle Europe, and we did it. And we were not allowed to use other materials. No gypsum board, no mineral material, just wood. 100% wood. And it's possible also in noise insulation to get the same standard. I don't want to go to the detail, it would need too much time, but I want to give you the message. With the wood from our forest, you can build a really high-tech house, the highest level that is possible.